The stars shone brightly against the blackness of space. Commander June looked through the viewport of his small scout ship. His heart beat faster as the massive alien warship came into view. "Enemy ship at 2 o'clock," said Tay, the combat expert. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "They haven't seen us yet." June nodded. "Good, let's keep it that way." 5 humans sat in the tight space of the scout ship. They were Earth's best, an elite team sent to find out why 3 human colonies had gone silent in the past month. "Don't like this," said Mina, the tech expert. Her eyes were fixed on her scanner. "That ship is putting out strange energy readings." Hyun, the team's medic, leaned over to look at her screen. "Never seen anything like it." "That's why we're here," said June. "Jiwoo, any communications?" Jiwoo, the intelligence officer, shook her head. "Nothing. Total silence." The mission was simple: get close, gather information, and report back to Earth Command. Humans had only been in space for 50 years. They were new to the galactic community, and not everyone welcomed them. "Hold position here," ordered June. "We'll observe for 1 hour, then." A bright purple light suddenly filled the cabin. The ship shook violently. "We're caught in some kind of beam," shouted Tay. Mina's fingers flew across her console. "It's a tractor beam, much stronger than anything we've seen before." June grabbed the controls. "Full reverse, break free." The engines screamed in protest as June pushed them beyond safety limits. It was no use. The small scout ship moved steadily toward the alien warship. "Weapons?" asked June. "Nothing that would make a dent in that thing," said Tay. Ji-woo looked up from her. "Station." "Sir, we're receiving a transmission." A deep, rumbling voice filled the cabin. It spoke perfect English. "Humans of Earth vessel, you have entered restricted space. Your kind is not welcome here. Prepare to be boarded." June stood up. "Everyone, arm up, we may have to fight." The 5 humans checked their standard-issue pistols. They knew the weapons would probably be useless against advanced aliens, but Earth soldiers never surrendered without a fight. The scout ship was pulled into a massive hangar. Bright lights blinded them as the ship's hatch was forced open from the outside. Tall, blue-skinned aliens in sleek armor poured in. They moved with incredible speed. Before the humans could fire a single shot, they were surrounded. "Drop your weapons," said one alien, larger than the rest. "Your primitive guns cannot harm us." June gave a small nod to his team. They placed their weapons on the floor. "I am Commander June of Earth Defense Force. We are on a peaceful mission to investigate lost communications with our colonies. This is neutral space under the Galactic Treaty." The large alien made a sound like laughing. "I am Captain Vex. There is no treaty that protects Deathworlders like you." "Deathworlders?" asked Hyun. Vex stepped closer. "You come from Earth, a planet that should not support intelligent life. High gravity, toxic atmosphere, extreme temperatures, deadly radiation, dangerous predators. Yet you evolved there. That makes you unpredictable." June stood tall. "We have rights under galactic law." "Not anymore," said Vex. "The Galactic Council has new leadership, new rules. Deathworlders are to be contained." The humans were forced into restraints that locked around their wrists and ankles. Strange fields of energy surrounded the cuffs, making it impossible to move freely. "Where are you taking us?" demanded Ji-woo. Vex smiled, showing sharp teeth. "To a place built specially for dangerous species like yours, the greatest prison ever constructed. We call it the Void." The journey took 3 days. The humans were kept in separate cells, unable to communicate. They were given minimal food and water. It was clear the aliens wanted to weaken them. On the 3rd day, they were brought to the bridge of the ship. Through the massive front window, they saw it. The Void. The prison was enormous, a dark metal sphere the size of a small moon. No windows broke its smooth surface. Strange energy fields shimmered around it, giving off an eerie purple glow. "Impressive, isn't it?" said High Warden Krex, the prison's commander who had come aboard to greet them. He was taller than Vex, with pale gray skin and 4 arms, built to contain the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. "We are not dangerous," said Mina. "We just want to live in peace." Krex waved one of his 4 hands dismissively. That's what all Deathworlders say. But your kind adapts. You find weaknesses, you exploit them. You cannot help it. It's how you survived Earth. Small transport ships took them from the warship to the prison. As they approached, June studied the structure. No obvious entrances, no visible defense systems, though he was sure they were there. Hyun whispered to him, "Sir, have you noticed how they look at us? Like we're monsters." June nodded. "They fear what they don't understand. Fear makes people do stupid things," added Tae quietly. Inside the prison was a maze of corridors and security checkpoints. The humans were scanned, prodded, and examined by various machines. Their Earth clothes were taken away and replaced with simple gray jumpsuits. Finally, they were brought to a large circular room. In the center stood what looked like a giant computer. Lights blinked across its surface. A soft humming filled the air. "This is Omni," said Krex proudly. "The most advanced artificial intelligence in the galaxy. It runs the void. Every door, every security measure, every breath of air. Omni controls it all." The AI spoke in a smooth, genderless voice. "Scanning. New inmates. Species human. Planet of origin. Earth. Classification. Class A. Deathworlders. Threat level. Extreme." Krex smiled. "You hear that? Class A. The highest threat level. You're our first Class A inmates. Consider it an honor." "Why are we here?" asked Jiwoo. "We've done nothing wrong." "Your existence is wrong," said Krex. "The Galactic Council has determined that Deathworlders cannot be allowed to roam free. You're too unpredictable." Omni's lights flashed. "Assessment complete. Recommended containment. Separate high-security zones. No contact between specimens. Daily physical and psychological evaluation." "You can't do this," said June, struggling against his restraints. "Earth will come looking for us." Krex laughed. "Let them come. No one has ever escaped the void. No one ever will." As guards moved to take them away, June caught the eyes of each team member. A silent message passed between them. They had been in tough spots before. They would find a way out. "Take them away," ordered Krex, "and prepare for the grand opening ceremony. Today we unveil the future of galactic security." As they were led away in different directions, June noticed something. The aliens moved with confidence, but there was fear in their eyes when they looked at the humans. They were afraid, and fear, June knew, could be used against them. June sat alone in a small cell. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. There was a bed, a toilet, and nothing else. No windows, no visible door. He had been there for 6 hours. "Inmate June," said Omni's voice from nowhere and everywhere. "It is time for your assessment." The wall in front of him slid open. 2 guards waited outside. They were different from Vex's soldiers, shorter with red skin and 4 eyes. "Follow," said one guard. "No sudden movements." June stood slowly. He noticed the guards kept their distance. They held weapons pointed at him, their hands shaking slightly. "They're afraid of me," thought June. "That's useful information." The guards led him through long hallways. June counted his steps and memorized each turn. Left, right, left, straight for 200 steps, then down a lift. He stored this map in his mind. They arrived at a large white room. Strange machines lined the walls. In the center was a platform with restraints. "Stand on the platform," ordered a new alien. This one was tall and thin with 6 fingers on each. "Handboid, I am Chief Examiner Zol. I will assess your capabilities." June stepped onto the platform. Metal bands closed around his ankles, wrists, and chest. "Is this necessary?" asked June. "For our safety, yes," said Zol. "Deathworlders are unpredictable. The first tests were simple. Machines scanned June's body. They measured his strength, speed, and reflexes." "Fascinating," said Zol, looking at the results. "Your muscle density is remarkable for your size." Next came tests of endurance. The temperature in the room dropped suddenly. June felt his skin turn to ice. His breath came out as fog. -20 degrees, noted Zol. still functioning. The temperature rose quickly. Soon, June was sweating heavily. The air became thick and hard to breathe. "Plus 50 degrees, said Zol. Heart rate elevated but stable. Impressive. The tests continued for hours. Pain tolerance, reaction to different atmospheres, resistance to electric shocks. Through it all, June remained calm. He knew what they were doing, trying to find his limits. "Tell me," said Zol as the tests paused. "How do humans survive on Earth? The gravity alone should crush your bones." "We adapt," said June simply. "It's what we do." Zol shook his head. "The data is concerning. You are far more resilient than expected." "Is that why you fear us?" "We do not fear. We are cautious. Species from death worlds often cause problems." In another part of the prison, Mina sat before a console. Her restraints allowed limited movement of her hands. A guard watched her closely. "Solve the pattern," instructed the alien supervising her test. On the screen, complex symbols flashed. Mina studied them. These were technical tests. They wanted to know how smart she was. Mina smiled to herself. She would show them exactly what they expected to see. No more, no less. She solved the puzzle at a moderate pace. Not too fast to raise alarms, not too slow to seem stupid. "Acceptable," said the supervisor. "Next test." As the tests continued, Mina secretly studied the console itself. The alien technology was advanced, but she recognized certain principles. The system had similarities to Earth computers. There were patterns, logic, and where there was logic, there were exploits. Hyun's assessment was different. They tested his medical knowledge. "Identify these compounds," said his examiner, showing him various colored liquids. Hyun pointed to each one. "This resembles Earth's morphine. This one looks like adrenaline." But Hyun was doing his own assessment. He noticed how the alien guards moved, their breathing patterns, the color of their skin. He saw where blood vessels were close to the surface, where joints bent in unusual ways. Every species had weaknesses. As a medic, Hyun knew how to find them. Tae was brought to a large empty room. 4 guards stood at the corners. "We understand you are a combat specialist," said a voice over speakers. "Show us your capabilities." A holographic opponent appeared. It looked like a mix of different alien species, tall like cracks, but with the blue skin of Vex. Tae moved carefully. He had been trained in 15 fighting styles. He knew how to kill with his bare hands, but now was not the time to show his true skills. He fought the hologram with basic moves. He held back, pretending to be slower and weaker than he really was. "Primitive techniques," noted the voice. "Effective but unsophisticated." Tae just nodded. "Let them think that." Jiwoo's assessment was more subtle. They placed her in a room with other prisoners, all aliens from different worlds. "Socialize," ordered the guard. 1 hour. Jiwoo sat in a corner looking scared and confused. It wasn't hard to act this way. She was in an alien prison after all. A small green alien approached her. It had large eyes and spoke in a whisper. "You are from Earth?" Jiwoo nodded. "Yes, my name is Jiwoo. I am Drix, from Nebin 4. The alien looked around nervously. "They call your world a death world. Is it true you have liquid water falling from the sky?" "Rain? Yes, we have rain." Drix looked amazed. "And creatures that eat other creatures?" "Yes. We call them predators." Several other aliens had moved closer to listen. They asked questions about Earth, about humans, about how they survived on such a dangerous planet. Jiwoo answered carefully. She was gathering information too, learning about the other prisoners, the guards, the prison itself. "How long have you been here?" she asked Drix. 2 cycles, since the new Galactic Council took power." "New council?" Drix nodded. "They fear species like yours. Say you will disrupt the balance." Jiwoo listened as the aliens shared their stories. Many had been imprisoned unfairly, some for speaking against the council, others simply for being from planets the council considered threatening. This wasn't just a prison, it was a political tool. At the end of the day, the 5 humans were brought back to their cells. They had not seen each other since morning. In the prison control room, High Warden Krex reviewed the assessment results with Omni. "Analysis?" asked Krex. Omni's lights pulsed. "The humans display high physical resilience. They can withstand environmental conditions that would kill most species. Their intelligence is above average but not exceptional. Threat level? Maintaining Class A designation, but their behavioral patterns suggest minimal escape risk. They appear resigned to captivity." Krex nodded, satisfied. "Good. Continue monitoring. Tomorrow we showcase our perfect prison to the Galactic Council representatives." But Omni's assessment was flawed. It didn't understand humans. It couldn't see what was happening in their minds. In 5 separate cells, 5 humans lay on their beds, eyes open in the darkness. Each reviewed what they had learned that day. Each found weaknesses in the prison systems. Each formed pieces of a plan. They couldn't talk to each other, couldn't share ideas, but they didn't need to. They were a team. They knew how each other thought. They knew what needed to be done. Tomorrow, the prison would hold its grand opening ceremony. Security would be focused on impressing visitors. It would be the perfect time to act. June smiled in the darkness. The aliens thought humans were dangerous because of their physical abilities. They didn't understand that the true strength of humans was something else entirely. Their determination, creativity, and ability to work together even when apart. The Death Worlders were going to show them just how dangerous humans could be. Morning came to the void, though there was no sun. The lights in each cell simply brightened from dark blue to white. June sat up on his bed as his cell door slid open. "Breakfast," announced a guard, sliding a tray through a small opening. June looked at the food, a gray paste and a cup of clear liquid. He sniffed it carefully before eating. It had no taste, but he could feel energy returning to his muscles. "Today is an important day, human," said the guard. "The Galactic Council arrives in 4 hours for the grand opening ceremony. Behave, and you might earn privileges." June nodded politely. "Thank you for the information." The guard seemed surprised by his politeness. He hesitated, then said, "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "The stories say humans are violent, unpredictable." June smiled. "Don't believe everything you hear." After the guard left, June examined his cell again. Now he knew what to look for. Yesterday's tests had revealed how the prison worked. The walls were made of a special metal that changed based on commands from Omni. The doors weren't really doors, just sections of wall that Omni could make solid or open. Most importantly, he had noticed tiny vents near the floor. The prison had an air circulation system. Where air could go, maybe people could too. In her cell, Mina was working quickly. During yesterday's tests, she had managed to touch the main computer system. Just for a moment, but it was enough. She had felt how it worked. Now she sat on her bed with her food tray. The guards didn't know that the spoon could be used as a tool. She carefully twisted it until the handle broke off. With this tiny piece of metal, she began working on the panel near her toilet. The panel controlled water flow. It wasn't connected directly to Omni, which made it a weak point. She worked silently, listening for guards. If her theory was right, she could send a message through the water pipes. Hyun had made his own discovery. The food they were given contained a chemical. It wasn't poison, but it made prisoners feel calm and weak. Hyun had trained his body to resist such drugs. He pretended to eat all his food, but actually hid half of it in a small hole he'd made in his mattress. Now he was working with the gray paste, mixing it with his own saliva. As a medic, he knew how to make basic compounds from simple ingredients. He wasn't creating a weapon. That would be detected. He was making something much more useful, an energy booster. Tae spent the morning exercising in his cell, push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. The guards watched him through hidden cameras. They thought he was just passing time. They didn't know he was testing the gravity in different parts of the cell. The prison used artificial gravity, and Tae had noticed it wasn't equal everywhere. Near the corners, it was slightly weaker. This Information would be crucial for their escape. Jiwoo had the most dangerous job. She had been placed in the common area again with other prisoners. The guards thought she was just making friends. They didn't realize she was building an alliance. The ceremony today. She whispered to Drix, the small green alien. Will security change? Drix nodded. Most guards will be at the main hall. Only skeleton crew elsewhere. How many of your people would help us if we tried to escape? Drix's large eyes grew wider. Escape impossible. Nothing is impossible for humans, said Jiwoo. We just need a distraction. At midday, something unexpected happened. The 5 humans were brought together for the first time since their capture. They were taken to a large room where workers were setting up for the ceremony. High Warden Krek stood in the center giving orders. He turned when the humans entered. Ah, our special guests, he said. You will be the highlight of today's demonstration. The Galactic Council wants to see our Deathworlders. The guards placed the humans in a line. They stood close enough to whisper. Status? Murmured June, his lips barely moving. Found access to water system, whispered Mina. Can create feedback loop in Omni's cooling system. Made energy compound, said Hyun. Will boost strength for 30 minutes. Gravity fluctuates near wall junctions, added Tae. Could use it to reach higher places. Made contact with other prisoners, finished Jiwoo. They'll help create distraction. June nodded slightly. It was enough. Each had found a piece of the puzzle. Krex approached them. What are you whispering about, humans? Just wondering what's going to happen, said June innocently. You will stand in special containment fields, explained Krex. Council members will observe you safely. You are the proof that even the most dangerous species can be contained. As Krex walked away, June looked at his team. No more words were needed. They all understood what had to be done. The plan would work in stages. First, Mina would use her knowledge of the water systems to create a problem with Omni's cooling. This would cause small glitches in the prison security. Second, Hyun would share his energy compound with the team. It would give them the strength they needed. Third, Tae would use the gravity differences to reach places the aliens thought were impossible to reach. Fourth, Jiwoo's new allies would create distractions throughout the prison. Finally, June would lead them to the docking bay where visitor ships would be waiting. It was risky. Many things could go wrong. But as humans from a death world, they were used to taking risks. 2 hours before the ceremony, the humans were returned to their cells. The prison buzzed with activity as final preparations were made. In his cell, June lay on his bed with his eyes closed. The guards thought he was sleeping. He was actually going through the plan step by step in his mind, looking for problems. The biggest risk was that they would be separated again after the ceremony. They had to act during the event, when they were together. The aliens' biggest mistake was bringing all 5 humans to the same place. They didn't understand that human strength didn't come from their bodies, but from their minds working together. On Earth, humans had survived because they cooperated. They shared knowledge. They trusted each other. These were concepts the aliens didn't value. To them, strength came from powerful bodies or advanced technology. They didn't understand that 5 average humans working as a team were more dangerous than 5 exceptional aliens working alone. June opened his eyes as his door slid open. It's time, said a guard. The ceremony is beginning. June stood up. His face showed nothing, but inside his heart beat faster. The moment had come. As he was led down the hallway, he noticed more guards than usual. They were nervous. The grand opening of the void was a big event. If anything went wrong, they would be blamed. Fear makes people careless, thought June. Another advantage for us. The guards brought him to a large room filled with aliens in formal clothing. Council members from across the galaxy had come to see the prison that could hold Deathworlders. In the center of the room were 5 transparent cylinders. His teammates already stood in 4 of them. Final containment test, said a guard leading. June to the last cylinder. June stepped inside. The door sealed behind him. He could see but not hear his teammates. High Warden Kreck stood on a platform addressing the crowd. Distinguished council members, today marks a new era in galactic security. With the Void, no dangerous species can threaten our peaceful society. June looked at his team. Mina gave a tiny nod. She was ready. The plan was in motion. The breakout had begun. The grand ceremony was underway. Important aliens from across the galaxy walked around the 5 transparent cylinders, staring at the humans inside. Some looked afraid. Others seemed curious. All kept their distance. Inside his cylinder, June stood perfectly still. His eyes moved from side to side, counting guards, noting exits, watching his team. The moment had to be perfect. High Warden Krex continued his speech. As you can see, these Deathworlders are completely contained. The cylinders are made of unbreakable material. Even with their remarkable strength, they cannot. The lights flickered. Just for a second, but everyone noticed. Krex paused, then forced a smile. A minor power adjustment, nothing to worry about. But June knew it was Mina. She had started her part of the plan. In her cylinder, Mina had been working, since the moment they placed her inside. The aliens didn't know that humans could produce electricity with their bodies. It was very small, but enough for what Mina needed. She had touched a small panel at the base of her cylinder. The panel controlled temperature. By sending tiny electric pulses through her fingertips, she was affecting the cooling systems. "Warning," said Omni's voice over speakers. "Minor coolant fluctuation detected. Adjusting." The aliens in the room looked around nervously. "Continue the tour," ordered Krex. "Omni has everything under control." But Omni didn't. As a computer, it couldn't understand what was happening. Its sensors said one thing, but reality was different. Mina was creating chaos in its systems. The lights flickered again, longer this time. In the prison's meal area, Jiwoo's plan was also beginning. Her new friend Drix had spread the word among other prisoners. They were tired of being locked up unfairly. They wanted freedom. "Now," whispered Drix to a large, rock-like alien. The alien stood up suddenly and began shouting. Guards rushed toward him. At the same time, prisoners at 3 other tables started fighting. Alarms sounded throughout the prison. More guards ran to stop the riot. Back in the ceremony room, Krex received an urgent message. "Sir, we have disturbances in multiple sections." "Handle it," snapped Krex. "I can't be interrupted now." But the damage was done. Guards were being pulled away from the ceremony to deal with the riots. The plan was working. The next part required perfect timing. Yun had hidden his energy compound in his mouth. When the lights flickered a 3rd time, he spit the compound onto the floor of his cylinder. The liquid began to smoke. It wasn't dangerous, but it looked scary. "That human is doing something," shouted an alien in the crowd. Guards rushed to Hyun's cylinder. They opened it to remove the smoking substance. That was exactly what Hyun wanted. The moment the cylinder opened, he dropped another part of his compound. This one made a loud bang and created thick smoke. In the confusion, Hyun slipped something to the nearest guard, the energy booster he had made. It looked like the guard had caught him, but actually, Hyun had made the guard touch the compound. The substance absorbed quickly through the alien's skin. Within seconds, the guard fell to the floor, unconscious. Not dead, just sleeping deeply. Panic spread through the room. Council members backed away. More guards rushed forward. "Remain calm," shouted Krex. "One human cannot escape." But one human wasn't the plan. 5 humans working together was the plan. As guards focused on Hyun, Tae made his move. The gravity fluctuations he had discovered were present in the cylinders too. By jumping at exactly the right angle, he could generate enough force to crack the cylinder. It wasn't supposed to be possible. The aliens had calculated human strength and made the cylinders 3 times stronger. But they hadn't counted on Tae, understanding their artificial gravity. Tae jumped, pushing off from exactly the right spot. His body hit the top of the cylinder with tremendous force. A small crack appeared. He jumped again. The crack grew. One more jump. The top of the cylinder shattered. Tay pulled himself up and out. Guards turned, shocked to see a human on top of a supposedly escape-proof container. Before they could react, Tay jumped down, landing on 2 guards. His earth muscles, developed in higher gravity, made him stronger than they expected. The guards went down. Tay grabbed their weapons, rod-like devices that shot electric charges. He quickly figured out how they worked. "Sorry about this," he said, firing at the nearest guards. They collapsed, stunned but not seriously hurt. Now it was June's turn. As Tay fought his way toward him, June prepared. He took deep breaths, focusing, his mind like he had been taught in military training. Tay reached June's cylinder and fired at its control panel. The door slid open. "Thanks," said June, stepping out. "2 down, 2 to go," replied Tay, handing June one of the weapons. Together they fought toward Mina's cylinder. The aliens were bigger, but slower. Humans from Earth, with its high gravity and demanding environment, could move faster than the aliens expected. They reached Mina's cylinder and freed her. "Omni's in confusion," she reported. "I created contradicting data in its systems. It's trying to fix too many things at once." As if to prove her point, the lights went out completely. Emergency lighting came on, bathing the room in red. "What's happening?" demanded Krex. "System reboot required," answered Omni's voice, sounding different, slower, confused. Conflicting data detected. In the red emergency lighting, the 3 humans moved toward Jiwoo's cylinder. Guards tried to stop them, but the humans were too quick, too coordinated. They worked as a perfect team, covering each other, moving together. They freed Jiwoo, who immediately joined the fight. "The riots are spreading," she said. "Prisoners are loose in 3 sections. Only Hyun remained. His cylinder was surrounded by the most guards, including Krex himself. "You will not free your final companion," said Krex. "Surrender now." June looked at his team. They nodded. "Time for the final part of the plan." "Mina," said June quietly. Mina closed her eyes, concentrating. She had memorized Omni's patterns. She knew how to speak its language. She clapped her hands 3 times in a specific rhythm. Throughout the prison, every door suddenly opened, every containment field shut down, every system reset, including Hyun's cylinder. He stepped out calmly, joining his team. "Impossible," shouted Krex. "How did you do that?" "You underestimated us," said June. "Humans don't just survive on a death world because we're strong. We survive because we understand systems. We adapt. We work together." The 5 humans stood back to back, facing outward. Guards surrounded them, but hesitated to attack. They had never seen anything like this. Prisoners escaping was rare. Prisoners taking control was unheard of. "The docking bay," said June to his team. "We need to move." "What about the other prisoners?" asked Jiwoo. June thought for a moment. "They deserve freedom too. Mina, can you broadcast a message?" Mina nodded. She moved to a control panel and worked quickly. Soon, her voice echoed throughout the prison. "Attention, all prisoners. This is the human team. We have temporarily disabled security. The docking bay is open. Ships are available. This is your chance for freedom." Krex lunged at Mina, but Tay intercepted him. They struggled briefly before Tay knocked him down. "You've ruined everything," shouted Krex. "Do you know what you've done?" "Yes," said June. "We've exposed your unjust prison. We've freed innocent beings, and we've shown the galaxy that Deathworlders aren't to be feared. We're to be respected." The humans fought their way out of the ceremony room and into the corridor. Alarms blared. Prisoners ran past them, heading for freedom. "This way," said June, leading his team toward the docking bay. Their plan had worked better than they had hoped. In less than 12 hours after arriving at the supposedly inescapable prison, they had taken control, and the day wasn't over yet. The path to the docking bay was chaos. Alarms blared. Red emergency lights flashed. Prisoners of all shapes and sizes ran through the corridors. Some fought with guards. Others simply fled. June led his team through the madness. They moved as one unit protecting each other. Left here, said June, remembering the map he had built in his mind. They turned down a wide corridor. Ahead they could see large doors, the entrance to the docking bay. Almost there, said Tay. Suddenly a wall of guards blocked their path. 20 aliens with weapons stood between them and freedom. Stop or we will fire, shouted the leader. The humans paused. They were good fighters, but 20 armed guards was too many. Options? Whispered June. Mina looked up. Air vents. Large enough for humans. Hyun pointed to a side door. That might lead around. I have an idea, said Jiwoo. She turned and called. Out, Drix, are you there? From the crowd of running prisoners behind them, Drix emerged with about 30 aliens of different species. We are here, human friend, said Drix. Jiwoo smiled. We need to get to the docking bay. Drix looked at the wall of guards, then at his fellow prisoners. For freedom, the prisoners charged. The guards were caught by surprise. They didn't expect prisoners to fight together. Most prisoners were from different worlds, different species. They usually didn't help each other, but Jiwoo had changed that. She had shown them that cooperation made them stronger. As the guards were distracted, June led his team along the wall, slipping past the fight. This way, he said, reaching the docking bay doors. Mina quickly worked on the control panel. The massive doors slid open. Inside was a huge space filled with ships. Some belonged to the prison. Others were visitor ships for the ceremony. The bay was mostly empty. The staff were busy dealing with the prison break. Which one? Asked Tay. Looking at the various ships. That one, said June, pointing to a sleek silver vessel. Council membership, fastest engines, best shields. They ran toward the ship. The ramp was down. The owner had left in a hurry when the alarms started. Can you fly it? June asked Mina. She studied the controls through the open door. Similar. To our systems, I can figure it out. Good, everyone aboard. As they moved toward the ship, a voice rang out behind them. Stop right there, humans. They turned to see High Warden Krex. He stood at the entrance to the docking bay, breathing hard. His uniform was torn. He held a large weapon. You will not leave this prison, he said, aiming at them. It's over, Krex, said June. Your perfect prison has failed. Because of you, shouted Krex. Do you know what you've done? Released dangerous criminals into the galaxy? We released innocent beings who were imprisoned for political reasons, corrected Jiwoo. You're the criminal here. Krex's face twisted with anger. You don't understand anything. Deathworlders like you upset the balance. Your kind adapts too quickly, evolves too fast. In 100 years, you'll dominate everything. We don't want to dominate, said June. We just want to live in peace, lies. Your history is full of violence. June couldn't deny that. Earth's history had many dark chapters, but there was more to humans than that. Yes, we've made mistakes, admitted June. But we learn from them. We grow. We become better. That's what living on a death world teaches you. How to overcome challenges, how to change. Enough talk. Krex raised his weapon. You will return to your cells. Suddenly, Drix appeared beside Krex. The small green alien held a pipe he had pulled from the wall. Sorry, said Drix as he swung the pipe. Krex fell to the floor unconscious. Thank you, Drix, said Jiwoo. Drix smiled. Humans taught me something important today. Sometimes you must fight for what's right. More prisoners poured into the docking bay, boarding various ships. Freedom was within reach. Come with us, Jiwoo offered Drix. The small alien hesitated. To Earth? A death world? It's not as bad as they say, said Jiwoo. And we could use someone who knows about the galaxy. Drix thought for a moment, then nodded. I will come. They boarded the ship. Mina took the pilot's seat and studied the controls. I think I've got it, she said, pressing buttons. The ship hummed to life. On screens inside the ship they could see other vessels launching, prisoners escaping to freedom. The great prison break would become a legend across the galaxy. Mina guided their ship out of the bay. The void grew smaller behind them. Soon, they were in open space. Set course for Earth, said June. As Mina programmed the navigation system, June found something interesting: the ship's communication array. It could send messages across the galaxy. "One last thing before we go," he said. He recorded a short message. "To all species in the galaxy. We are humans from Earth. Today we escaped from a prison built to contain us because we come from what you call a death world. But we are not your enemies. We are not monsters. We survived our harsh world by working together, by caring for each other, by finding solutions to problems that seemed impossible. The Galactic Council has been lying to you. They imprisoned beings who did nothing wrong. They ruled through fear. This must end. We invite any species who wants to learn about humans to visit Earth. Yes, our world is challenging, but those challenges made us who we are, and together, we can build a better galaxy for everyone." June sent the message on all frequencies. It would reach every corner of the galaxy. "Will anyone listen?" asked Hyun. "Some will," said June. That's how change begins. The ship accelerated, heading toward Earth. They had a long journey ahead, but they were going home. 3 months later, on Earth, June stood on a platform addressing the world's leaders. He had told the story of their capture and escape many times. "The galaxy now knows about humans," he said. "Some fear us, but others have reached out in friendship." He gestured to Drix, who now served as Earth's first alien ambassador. Beside Drix stood representatives from 12 other worlds, all former prisoners who chose to come to Earth. "They call our world a death world," continued June. "They think that makes us dangerous. But they're wrong. Living on a challenging world didn't make us monsters. It made us strong, adaptable, creative. It taught us to value life because it can be lost easily. It showed us that cooperation is more powerful than conflict." He looked out at the crowd, seeing hope on their faces. The prison they built to contain us couldn't hold us for even one day. Not because we're violent or dangerous, but because we understand something they don't. There's no challenge that can't be overcome when intelligent beings work together. The crowd cheered. Earth had taken its first steps into a larger universe. The journey ahead would be difficult. There would be misunderstandings, prejudice, maybe even conflicts. But Earth had faced challenges before. That was the nature of a death world. And humans always found a way to adapt, to survive, to thrive. That was their greatest strength. That was the lesson of the void. And the galaxy would never forget it.